Good morning, Mr. Weeks here. Today we're going to talk about integer and general word problems. So, let's get right to it. Our first problem is 5 times the sum of a number and 3 is the same as 3 multiplied by 1 less than twice the number. What is our number? So, first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we identify all of our operations. So I'm just going to grab my highlighter. And then anywhere I see an operation, I'm just going to kind of color it in for right now. My highlighter is pretty picky sometimes, so let's see. Times, sum, multiplied. Yeah, there's the highlighter acting up again. Alright. Let's see. We've got less than, twice. Alright. Now I'm just going to go through and any actual numbers I'm just going to highlight. So we've got 5, 3, 3, 1. Let's see. Let's go for variables next. So a number. Let's see. And the number. And I'm not going to... Oh, that was a nice one. I'm not going to do the number in the question. Really? I'm sorry. Everybody has to sneeze sometime. Alright, is the same as. That's our equal sign. So now let's just put it together. We've got all of our pieces. Now, one key when you're translating problems and solving is to make sure that if you ever see two operations on the same side of the is, you're most likely looking at parentheses. So let's start from the beginning. 5 times the sum. So in the first 4 words we have two operations, 5 times. So we're going to multiply 5 times it. What are we going to multiply by? The sum. Sum means we have to add. That's our set of parentheses. Alright, a number, so we're going to call it x, and 3. Alright, is the same as. There's our equal sign. 3 multiplied by 1 less than. So again, there's 2 more operations, multiply and less than. Okay. So we're going to multiply 3 by 1 less than twice the number. Now remember the trick with less than. Whatever comes after the word less than, or the words less than, ends up going first when we translate it. So twice the number. So it's 2x minus 1. Now what we need to do, a little T-chart action going on. So 5 times x, well, a little distributed property. Both sides, 6x minus 3. And let's see, subtract 5x both sides. Scroll down just a little bit. Alright, and we end up with 15 equals x minus 3. And keep our T-chart going. Add 3 to both sides. And x is equal to 18. Pretty straightforward stuff. Again, the hardest part is translating the sentence to the equation. And again, remember, if you see two operations on the same side of the is or the equal sign, you're most likely going to use parentheses. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's check out another one. Alright, these ones are always, I think they're fun and enjoyable. I do need to make a change. I don't want 118, I want 120. Alright, so find 2 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 120. So the first thing we need to figure out is, what is a consecutive integer? Well, when we're talking about consecutive numbers, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, it's just numbers that come right after each other. When I start talking about consecutive odd numbers, 1 and 3, 3 and 5, 5 and 7, 7 and 9, so on and so forth. It's just one odd number, and then whatever odd number comes next, that's the next consecutive one. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? Now that you know what consecutive means, now we need to find two of them. So the first consecutive number I'm going to call n. Alright? I could have used a, I could have used x, whatever I wanted to. I use n just because it's number. If this is the first one, let me go back to my example of 5 and 7. If n is 5, what do I need to do to n to get to 7? How about just add 2? Alright? So if n was my first consecutive odd number, n plus 2 would have to be my second. I've had people ask me before, well, why do you add 2? That's an even number. Won't that give you an even number? Well, if you start with an even number and you add an even number, yeah, you're going to get an even number. But if you start with an odd number and you add 2, you're just going to move past the even number, which would have been plus 1, and then get to your next odd number, which would be plus 2. Alright, so let me erase my example here. I want to keep my two numbers on here, because we're going to need them. And my eraser's being picky this morning. Alright, so what does it say we want to do with these odd numbers? It says the sum is 120. So we're going to take the first one, we're going to add it to the second one. So remember, here's our first one, here's our second one, and it equals 120. So now we just combine like terms and solve. 2n plus 2 equals 120. Subtract 2 from both sides. Throw my t-chart in there for you. So you get 2n equals 118. Divide both sides by 2. And n is equal to half of 100 is 50. Half of 18 is 9. So 59 would be my first odd number. Some people forget, well, they think they're done. Boom, n is 59. Done. Solved. We don't want just one number. We want the first number, 59, and the second number, so we just have to add 2, 61. Now we found our two odd numbers. When added together, gives us 120. So all I did was plug in my 59 for the n plus 2. Presto changeo, we get our two numbers. Pretty easy stuff. Alright, I'm going to make a separate video for the general word problems. So this was just integer word problems. So if you guys have any questions, again, check your notes, ask a friend, and if that still doesn't work, come talk to me. I'm Mr. Weeks.